Okay, hello everybody. You joined me in the comfort of my bed. New filming location unlocked. I'm filming this on December 30th. When will it go up? I don't know. I'm hoping maybe tomorrow before the year comes to a close, but I we'll see. Maybe in the new year. It'll be a little 2026 treat. But I just thought it'd be fun to close the year off by going through all the books I read this year. I'm a big reader. I love to read. However, I will say I didn't read that much this year. But I will say I traded my reading time for my writing time this year, and I'm happy about that. For 2026, I'm hoping that both of them kind of just even out and I'll do just as much reading as I am writing. This year, I've read a total of 18 books, which to some could be a lot and to some could be very little. For me personally, I feel like that's a little. It's definitely like not as many books as I've read in my previous years. Reading is reading. Read at your own pace. I feel like sometimes it's very, especially like with social media and book talk and like witnessing the rapid consumption of reading online makes you feel like you need to be reading more. Which, if it encourages you to read, then absolutely go for it. But like, if you feel like just read what you can. Anyway, I say all this to say I read some great books this year. I read some really bad books this year, and I'm happy to share with you all of them. People always ask me if I have Goodreads, and by people I mean my friends. I don't have Goodreads, but what I do have is this personalized Notion page that I made a long time ago. I think like in 2020. It's like a personal Goodreads where I'll try to put it up on the screen, but it's just like this list, this chart where I have the name of the book that I read, and the date that I finished it, and the ratings that I give it in stars, and the genre that it's in, a little tagline, just for fun, the author, and then my notes slash my feedback or like my comments of the book. It's not public, but I love it. And I enjoy it, and it keeps all my books organized. And people always ask me, and by people again, I mean my friends. They're like, "Why aren't you put this up on Goodreads?" And I'm like, I it just feels like such a daunting task. But now it seems like I'm over 156 books into this thing, and it just feels so daunting to transfer everything into Goodreads. I just don't know if I'm up for that. I also don't think I care. I think what I'll do this year as I go through these books and I share with you these books, I will also read some of my reviews on my little book tracker. Some of the books I have hard copies of, some of the books I've loaned to friends, and some of the books I read illegally online. So I'll put the cover here. You know the drill. Okay, the first book that I read this year, The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. This is a reread. This is my favorite book in the entire world. It's written by Kate DiCamillo, who is a fantastic children's author. Also wrote The Tale of Despereaux. Also wrote The Magician's Elephant. There's another one that I'm thinking of. Is it Because of Winn-Dixie? Maybe it is. Because of Winn-Dixie was written by Kate DiCamillo. My teacher in the third grade read this to us, and I have never stopped thinking about it. So I bought my own copy, and this is the copy that I've had since like 2008. What grade was I in 2008? I digress. I've had this book for a very long time. It's a 5 out of 5 stars, and I haven't even told you what it's about. I'm going to read the back to you, okay? Once in a house on Egypt Street, there lived a China rabbit named Edward Tulane. The rabbit was very pleased with himself, for he was owned by a girl named Abby Len, who treated him with the utmost care and adored him completely. And then one day, he was lost. And this book takes you on a miraculous journey of this little China rabbit doll that gets lost. And he goes through like such a transformative. I don't even know how to describe this book to you. You just have to read it for yourselves. Anyway, this is how I started the year. I read this book. I read it actually to my girlfriend. I read it out loud to her, and I said, sit down and listen. Now for the Notion review. I love this book. I love this book. Shout out to, I'm not going to say her name out loud. That's my grade 3 teacher. I love her. I miss her. What is she up to? Miss that queen. Okay, back to this book. I fucking love this book. Anyway, this review is not good, so I'm not going to read the rest to you. Oh, I lied to you. That was not the first book I read. This was not the first book I read. The first book I read was A History of My Brief Body by Billy Ray Belcourt, which is a memoir. Some lore about Billy Ray Belcourt is that he is an associate professor at UBC, where I went to school, and he taught creative writing and he taught poetry, and I was gonna take his class, but it was fucking full. Anyway, so I read his memoir and it was amazing. It was so good. It was beautiful. It was here I wrote this is my review. An indescribable piece of literature, a memoir like none I've ever read before. The life of an indigenous boy is full of trauma, pain, love, and hope. Learning about indigenous history is a privilege and a necessity. The abstractness and the fluidity of this memoir struck me very deeply. The rest of my review are spoilers, so I'm not going to read the rest of it. The next book I read was The Sympathizer. I found this for $2 at Value Village. There's a TV show. I didn't know this until recently, so I might have to put that on my 2026 watch list. But basically, this is a story about a Vietnamese American spy. And wait, is he American? I said that really quickly, but what if I'm wrong? My tagline is fuck the US military. It did take me a really long time to finish this book because I have this really bad habit of having like a travel book, which is like a book that I just keep with me whenever I go places, and I'm like, oh, I'll bring this book with me and then I'll read it. But what happens when I bring a travel book that is like travel, like just like commuting, like not traveling worldwide, but when I pick a book that demands my full attention to like detail and historical events, um I get like I never pick it up when I'm in public. So then the times that I'm reading it are far and fewer far between. What's that? Are far and few between? You know what I'm trying to say. Oh, my dog is barking. 1 second. Sorry about the intermission. I don't know where we left off, but when the dog barks, I have to go see what's going on. So, and by dog, I mean him. Okay, we're on The Sympathizer. I was saying it took me a long time to read. Not because it wasn't good, but because it was always just kind of like I never sat down with it. And so when I finally finished it, I wished that I had actually like sat down and like gave it the attention that it deserved. Okay, he's not American. I lied about that. Let me read this to you. The Sympathizer is a sweeping epic of love and betrayal. The narrator, a communist double agent, is a man of two minds, a half French, half Vietnamese army captain who arranges to come to America after the fall of Saigon, and while building a new life with other Vietnamese refugees in Los Angeles, is secretly reporting back to his communist superiors in Vietnam. The Sympathizer is a blistering exploration of identity in America, a gripping espionage novel, and a powerful story of love and friendship. Do not remember it very well, and I'm so sorry. Okay, next up, I have a copy of it, but it doesn't belong to me. If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. Before I begin, this copy does not belong to me, so if someone let me borrow this, raise your hand, let me know. I never bought this book for myself, but somehow it's here. This was a great read. This took me out of my reading slump. Not to say that The Sympathizer put me into a reading slump, but I think I was just slumping. This is what I wrote in my notes. To be or not to be? That is the question. Holy crap. Great book to pull me out of my reading slump. This was everything that I needed. Dark academia, check. Moody but lovable characters, check. A murder, check. A mystery, check. Theater kids, oh my god, check. Secret lovers, so good. This is a very silly review, but the book itself was great. I love the plot. I love the mystery of it all. Love to see theater kids be unashamed in their theater kid vibes. This is a book for theater kids. Have a little fun. Read a little book about crazy theater kids who murder. Also, 2025 was a big year of no buying books for me. I did not buy a singular book for myself unless it was gifted to me. And I stuck with that. That was a goal of mine because I have this bookshelf that is full of books that I've either bought or like been gifted to me that I have not read. And I said 2025 is all about reading books from this bookshelf. Anyway, so the majority of books I read this year were from my bookshelf. Okay, the next book I read, Bad Cree by Jessica Johns, which is her debut novel. It's a haunting debut novel where dreams, family, and spirits collide. And I enjoyed it. The plot was really interesting. The premise was really good. I think parts of the execution could have been better. And I'm saying this from somebody that's like has not written a book. In my review, I said, I liked this book. It was good. I went in blind, so I had really no idea what I was expecting. I thought the plot was good, but something felt a little lackluster. I personally was not a fan of the writing style. There were too many she let out of breath that she didn't even know she was holding, like sentences. And for me, personally, I don't love those sentences. And I think there was something that happened at the end of the book where the stakes were really, really high, but it didn't feel like it when I read it. But anyway, that is not to say that this wasn't a good book, because you might really love it. Next, Funny Story by Emily Henry. I have read almost all of Emily Henry's books. I think the only one I haven't read yet is This Great Big Beautiful Life, Great World, Beautiful World, This Great Beautiful World. I don't know it. I don't have it yet. Um, but I'm so sorry to Miss Henry because I didn't love this one. And I know that's kind of like, because people love Funny Story. I just didn't love it. It was a story, but I'm not sure if it was all that funny. I think the premise was fantastic. Ex-fiancés getting together with their respective fiancés partners. Sign me up. That sounds fantastic. However, I feel like I just thought that there would be more tension. I felt like there wasn't enough tension, and I love tension. It just kind of felt like there could have been so much more potential for like the fiancés that they left to like bump into each other more. Like there was not enough dancing around of this like ex fiance situation, this little quad couple situation. And I just felt like there could have been more, but that's just my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. Next up, I read Sunrise on the Reaping. First of all, I'm so excited for the movie to come out. This book was so good. Oh, hey, Mitch, bless your heart. It's also the way that I know everybody dies in the Hunger Games, but I didn't really think that everybody would die. Fuck President Snow. He sucked before, he sucked here, and he sucked big time after. I love the world building of the Hunger Games. I love the characters. I love the fight. I love the rebels. I love noticing a problem and then a character not being afraid to give their life to the cause. I love a rebellion. And then I like freaked out about Beatty and Ampert and Wyrus and Mags and them being mentors. I love the little nods to Lucy Gray. Also, I'm so sorry to Hamish. That is a lot of pain and suffering. Fantastic book. If you haven't read it yet, go read it. What are you doing sitting here? The next book I read is Wrong Place, Wrong Time. The concept of it is very, very interesting. It's about this woman who waits up for her son to come home. And as she sees her son walking close to the door, she watches him stab somebody dead. Oh, and then she runs out there to like help and like whatever. And then she goes to bed when everything's like all done and okay. Oh, she like goes to bed, and when she wakes up, it's the morning of the murder. And every subsequent morning that she wakes up, it's the day before the murder. She has to figure out what the catalyst is to stop the murder from happening. Super good. I would recommend. Next, I have, look how cute this cover is. I love it. I didn't love the book, and I'm so sorry to say. This book follows two different timelines, one in 1999 and the other in 1997. And in 1999, this Korean family that's struggling to keep going after their mom suddenly ups and vanishes, and then all of a sudden they find a dead man in their backyard who has a letter in his hand that's addressed to their mother. In the 1977 timeline, you get to witness the mother of this family as they make their move to America, as they settle in America, and she like makes a life for herself and befriends this mysterious man that later shows up dead in their backyard decades later. The premise again sounds fantastic. It also started off really strong, but let me tell you why I didn't like it, because I don't remember why. The whole thing ended very abruptly, and there were no stakes and no mystery. The ending felt rushed and comic booky. Anyway, that's my review. Sorry to say it wasn't better. I'm leaving a lot of stuff out because they're kind of spoilers. You know when like you pick up a book and you really want it to be good and it's not? That's how I felt. But the thing is, this is just my subjective opinion. And that's why books are amazing. So you might love this book. Don't let me stop you from loving this book. Next, we have, oh, I read The Princess Bride. I fucking love The Princess Bride. My teacher in the 6th grade loved The Princess Bride, so we watched it. What an incredible movie. My girlfriend gave me a copy of her book, and I was like, I'm fucking reading this. It was just as good as the movie, if not better. Books are always better than the movies. It was just exactly how I thought it would be. So amazing. Loved it. Next, I read Onyx Storm. Okay, here's my truth about the Fourth Wing series. I enjoy these books the way that I enjoy Harry Styles Wattpad fanfiction back in the day. It was just like stay up all night, read crazy smut, and then like dream about boy bands. And like this, I felt like Fourth Wing was like that to me, but then Iron Flame kind of lost me, and I'd kind of just wait until the next smut scene and kind of just move on with my life. Onyx Storm felt no different. Let me read to you my review. Let's Go Dragon Riders. Do I know politically what is going on in this book? Absolutely not. Do I still eat it up? Yes. Did I tear up at some points? Really? Kind of yes, but I think that's because I have a heart. I like Xaden. I hope he doesn't die. Nothing crazy to note. Nobody has any personal attachment to me, not even the main girl. If she died, maybe the series might be better. Is that mean? That's my review. And I apologize to all the Rebecca Yaros fans out there. It's gonna be okay. Okay, next book I read, guys, might just be the best one of 2025. This is Restaurant Kid by Rachel Phan. This is a book that actually my dad recommended to me. And let me tell you the story. So, Rachel Phan is a Canadian author, and my dad loves to listen to CBC radio. And me too, I love the radio sometimes. And he came home from work one day and went up to me and he goes, I was just listening to the radio and you should look up this girl, Rachel Phan. And I was like, okay. And he's like, she's a lot like you. So Rachel Phan is a daughter of Vietnamese refugees, and her parents were both Vietnamese boat people. Me, I am also a daughter of refugees, and my mom also escaped Vietnam by boat, and my father is a Cambodian genocide survivor. This book is a memoir about Rachel Phan's upbringing as a daughter of refugees living in a small town in Ontario where the population of Asian kids are 0, and her parents own and run a restaurant in this small little town. It's just so good. It made me feel so seen and understood in ways that I just like did not know feelings could be vocalized in words like that. And so it's always really great when you find a book that like means something to you, and this was the book that meant something for me in 2025. And I met her at this writing event that was happening in Ottawa, and I got to tell her in person how wonderful this book was, so that was very special to me. Next up we have in that same field, and I'll tell you why in a second, is Johnny Delivers by Wayne Ng. At the event that I just mentioned, Rachel Phan and like 3 other Asian authors, it was a great Q&A panel where they talked about their books, and the moderator was Wayne. And then, color me surprised, when the event starts, there's a man that walks up to the front of the stage or the room, whatever, and he starts to talk, and I'm like, oh my god, why does this voice sound so familiar? It's freaking Alan Neal. I don't know if you guys watching know who Alan Neal is, but Alan Neal runs the CBC radio show All in a Day with Alan Neal from 3 to 6 p.m. on CBC. And I just grew up listening to that whenever my dad would like drive me home from school, and like it would just be Alan Neal on the radio. Anyway, so Alan Neal runs a book club, and the book of that month was going to be Johnny Delivers. I was like, I'm going to this book club. I have to go to this book club. So I went to the book club. So it's set in the 1970s, and there's this boy named Johnny. And Johnny kind of lives in a very chaotic household. His parents also own a Chinese restaurant, and his parents are also going through some financial struggles at the moment. And Johnny, who is about to go to university, has a whole life ahead of him, decides, I'm going to help my parents out by not only delivering Chinese food to the neighborhood, but also delivering weed. And so, obviously, in the 1970s, weed is illegal. And so, you follow this young boy as he like falls in love and goes through high school and like tries to be a teenager, all while dealing weed as a side hustle to protect his family. Roller coaster of emotions, really, really good. Highly recommend. Okay, the next book that I read was, do I have it? I swear to God, I have it. I can see it, but it's on the floor over there, and I'm not getting up and getting it. But I read The Goldfinch. I listened to the audiobook for most of it. I liked the guy reading the audiobook. He was very fun to listen to. I like the accents that he did for every single person. The way that I'm speaking right now makes it seem like I don't like this book. I didn't hate it. I did not hate it. And sometimes I feel worried about saying something like that about a book that's like so well loved. But obviously, like, just because I don't like a book doesn't mean you don't have to like a book. Duh. The next book I read is Lucky by Marissa Stapley. This book was really good. It had really great potential, but I think the ending for me did not. I didn't love the ending. The premise is this girl, her name's Lucky, and she was born a con artist and lived her life as a con artist, and she was always on the run. And one day she buys a lottery ticket and she has the winning fucking numbers to this like jackpot of a deal. It's like a couple $1,000,000, but she can't redeem it because she's wanted, because she's a con woman. It's jam packed. It's fun. The con artistry of it all is very fun. So I would recommend you read this. Didn't love the ending, but still a very good book. Okay, next. The next book I read, A Thousand Splendid Suns. We all know his other famous book, The Kite Runner, which is also an incredible read. This book, fantastic. I think it's better than The Kite Runner. It was just magnificent. I loved this book. And then I watched the Service 95 podcast episode on this, hosted by Dula Peep, and it was so brilliant. I just loved listening to Khaled speak. I don't know if I should say much about this book because it's kind of like one of those books where it's just like you gotta read it for yourself. It's about these two Afghan women and how their lives intertwine through a series of so many different tragedies. And it's oh my god, I don't know what to say about this book that won't give it away, or like I just need you to read it at your earliest convenience. Read this book. Then my latest read that I just finished not too long ago, Atmosphere. Fantastic. Really, really incredible. I loved it. It was so good. Space lesbians. That's all you really need to know. Space lesbians. All her books feel like movies. All of them. It's like I can watch them in my mind and see it so completely and so wholly. This is so good. I won't lie. The start of it had me going, okay, what's going on here? But then it picks up and then you can't put the fucking book down. It was a 10 out of 10 experience. Loved it. Love those space lesbians. And those were all the books I read in 2025. I am currently reading. Can you recognize it? Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. I've been calling it Catabasis just because I feel like that just rolls off the tongue easily. In an interview I saw, Rebecca Kuang literally said Catabasis, and I was like, Catabasis? Same with Babel. Babel? I read that one last year. Very good. The premise is two of these like academic scholars, big brain nerds, travel down to hell to save their professor, who they accidentally, well, one of them accidentally blew up their professor. And so now these two academic smart heads are traveling down all 7 layers of hell to bring back their professor because they need a letter of recommendation. Very good. I love the way that Rebecca Kuang writes. I loved Yellowface and Babel. I have yet to read the Poppy War series, but that's what 2026 is for. And yeah, with that being said, this was a very chaotic video, I feel, but that's okay because I feel like all my videos are chaotic anyway. I had a great year. I'm happy to be back on YouTube filming videos and just hee hee ha haing my way through life. Thank you for watching this video. Have a wonderful new year. If I post this on December 31st, Happy New Year. If I post this later, also Happy New Year. I hope 2026 is everything that you've ever wanted. And that's all I have to say. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful year. And I will see you soon. Goodbye.